Well, remember when Curry was injured and everybody was worried about the Warriors? You know, the Warriors, they don't look the same. You know, the championship run is over. Max Kellerman was on television talking about, oh, look, you look at the analytics. If you look at the analytics, no question about it, say that the Warriors are done. They're done. Silly, man. What a silly person. The Warriors have been the Warriors for quite a while. And the only thing that can stop the Warriors are the Warriors. Now, they're going to win a championship this year. I don't know, but I would probably lean toward them repeating. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't count on a team like the Raptors. I wouldn't count them out totally, but the Warriors are a beast, man. And they're playing like the Warriors of old, and they get Boogie Cousins back on Friday. I mean, not back, because he actually hasn't made his debut with the team, but you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? They actually get Boogie Cousins officially playing in a game on Friday. The NBA, the little parody that we've been enjoying, man, might be coming to an end, man. It might, you know, like watching the Western Conference being competitive was fun while it lasted, but I think the Warriors have smoothed some stuff out, and I think that, you know, they're pretty much going to start slowly pulling away from the rest of the competition. Maybe. Maybe not. But I think so. Yesterday's game against the Nuggets was a competition against the Western Conference two best teams. And unlike the contest between these two teams earlier this season, this was not a competitive game at all. The Warriors ass raped the Denver Nuggets by the final score of 142 to 111. And it was a balanced attack. This is when they're at their most dangerous, when they have a lot of ball movement, everyone gets involved. And they're shooting the ball well. You can't beat the Warriors when they're playing like this. Stephen Curry had 31 points. Klay Thompson also had 31 points to go along with 4 fucking dunks. Kevin Durant had 27 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists. Green didn't even need to score. 4 points, 6 rebounds, 13 assists. What's the most ominous in that stat line is the 13 assists. That's when he's at his most dangerous, when he's facilitating like that. I think they as a team had 38 assists, was it? I think as a team, the Warriors had 38 assists, and they scored an NBA record 51 first quarter points. 51. That mark, the old mark was 50 points, which had been set. I read this just recently, 4 different times. The most recently by the Phoenix Suns back in 1990, which they did, interestingly enough, against the Denver Nuggets. I looked at the stat line in that game, and Orlando Woolridge led all scorers with 40 points. Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, at that time known as Chris Jackson, had 26 points. And I think the Phoenix Suns had, I think it was 5 players with 20 points or more, led by Cedric Ceballos, who scored 32 points coming off the bench. Interestingly enough, in that game, not only did Phoenix score 50 points, I think a lot of sports media outlets are not reporting the record accurately. The 51 points is not the most points scored in an NBA quarter. It's the most points ever scored in the first quarter of an NBA game. But anyway, interestingly enough, not only did Phoenix score 50 points in that game, they scored 57 points in the second quarter. They set a record for most points at a half, which was 107. And they finished the game blowing out the Denver Nuggets by the final score of 173 to 143. Absolutely no fucking defense being played whatsoever in that game, sounding more like a score that you would see back in the 1960s. I already knew the NBA record was 58. The NBA record for most points scored in a quarter is 58 by the Buffalo Braves. But I looked at that game. It's interesting. I just like looking at old games and seeing shit, right? The NBA record is 58 points by the Buffalo Braves, now of course known as Los Angeles Lakers. And they did against the Boston Celtics. I think it was in October of 1973. What was interesting about that game is at the end of the third quarter, the Boston Celtics were obliterating the Buffalo Braves 103 to 60. The Buffalo Braves outscored the Boston Celtics 58 to 23 to actually make it a competitive game. They lost by the final score of 126 to 118, but they scored 58 points on nearly half their total in the fourth quarter. So that's the NBA record, 58. And I think one of these days, possibly a team might break that record, the way that the game has been opened up so much now. But the Warriors are rolling. They have the best record in the Western Conference. I think they're now, 30 and 14. I think they've won 5 games in a row. They ended the Denver Nuggets' 12-game home winning streak, and they made the Denver Nuggets look like an amateur team. And as I said earlier, they get DeMarcus Cousins to make his season debut on Friday. They still have the NBA in a chokehold as far as dominance is concerned. Their grip may have lessened a little bit earlier, but they're starting to firmly clinch again. And another thing that's emerging too is Klay Thompson is finally emerging from his slump, his season-long slump. At one point in the season, Klay was shooting about, I think, 42% from the floor and only like 26% or so from beyond the three-point range. He was especially struggling from three-point range. But that's turning around. His season numbers are now close. His field goal percentage is at 45.6 points per game, which is about his career average, which is 45.8%. And his three-point percentage is now up to 36.6%, so he's closing in on 37%, which is still a career low. But considering how low he was at one point, as a matter of fact, I want to say the first 5 games or so, he was only shooting, 14%? First 10 games, like 14% or so from beyond the arc, like seriously struggling. So he's actually come on a lot as of late. In fact, since December 29th, Klay Thompson's averaging close to 27 points per game, shooting 51% from the floor and 49% from beyond the arc. So Klay Thompson has been awesome so far the month of January. Stephen Curry, since he come back from the groin injury, has been Stephen Curry, averaging 29 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, shooting 48% from the floor, 44% from three-point range. He's taking 12 three-pointers per game. He's really feel very confident in taking that shot, and he's making it at a high clip. And Kevin Durant has played more team-orientated basketball. There was a stretch, of course, when Stephen Curry was out, where he had to be more offensive-minded. But I think that hurts the Warriors when Kevin Durant plays more ISO. They're much, much better. It's tough when Durant has one of those games where he's putting up 45, 50 points or 40 points. Then he can get away with that. But they're much better when they're playing team-orientated basketball, passing the basketball. That's the Splash Brothers type basketball. And not only that if you have Splash Brothers type basketball and you got Boogie Cousins coming in and he gets, implemented into the offense, gets in game shape eventually, I'm telling you, man, by March, this club, man, I don't know, man. I don't know why people worry about this team, man. The way they're playing, the Warriors, they still might win 60 games, man. They still might win 60 games. They might. But tell me what you guys think, man.